Hello, good evening. This is Dele Ayimi Boy again. In the morning, yesterday we started discussing the transiting from paid employment to self-employment in export business. And I discussed preamble, and then we've discussed some of the prospect this morning. And this afternoon, we move on to the processes. Remember, we're discussing how to transit from paid employment to self-employment. Basically, what we are trying to do is to get individuals who are still on paid employment to begin to see the possibility of working towards starting their own business. And the reason is this, really. At some point, you must transit from paid employment to self-employment. At some point, you need to do that transition. What I tell people is that if you decide to continue working and spend your productive years serving others, unless you're a partner in that business and you're a co-owner, I don't think it's a wise decision to take. And if you are coming out and you're looking at options of what you can do, I can say for a fact that, look, export is something you must consider. Even if you're going to be into production of one thing or the other, don't just produce that thing. Look for how you can also begin to ship such products out of the country. So we'll start again discussing transiting from paid employment to self-employment. Now, it's very important for you to understand that if you want to export from Nigeria, one of the processes involved is the fact that you have to have a limited liability registered. You can't export using business name. It has to be limited liability. And in that limited liability, one of the objectives must be that export is written in the memorandum of association. So export must be one of the objectives. And the reason is this. You need to export from Nigeria with export certificate, also called export license. To get that certificate, to get that license, is extremely important for you to have a limited liability. By law, they can't give you a license if you don't have a limited liability. So you really have to get a limited liability for you to be able to export products out of Nigeria. In getting the license, you can easily go to the Nigerian Export Promotion Council website, nepc.gov.ng. Okay, someone told me in the morning that I was very fast, so I'll try to be slow this afternoon. nepc.gov.ng. nepc.gov.ng. So if you go to that website, nepc.gov.ng, you can register your company there for export, and then your certificate can be ready in less than a month, actually. Sorry, in less than a week, actually. Your certificate can be ready. I understand it's in days, but sometimes it takes up to 3-4 days. That's just less than a week. Your certificate can be ready. And please know, you don't need to know anybody to get export license, please. You don't need to know anybody to get export license. You don't need to know anybody to get export license. If you are just joining us, we appreciate if you can share this link with your friends right now. Some of your friends who are looking at starting export business. Some of your friends who are trying to become trade professional. Some of your friends who are looking at how they will be able to grow their business, especially as related to export business. Or those that are trying to transit from paid employment to self-employment, you might want to share it with them right now for them to be able to benefit from the conversation. To get the export license, it's very important also for you to know that it's just about 13,500. It is valid for 2 years. And like I said, you don't need anybody to help you. You can do it yourself. Nobody needs to help you. So don't go around trying to pay someone to be able to help you with an export license when you can easily get your export license for just 13,500 from the Nigeria Export Promotion Council. And that can be easily done online. Everything is automated. Even the payment is done online. You just go to the office and pick up the license. Like I said, it can only be done for limited liability company. It's not allowed to be done for business name. It can only be done for limited liability company. All right. Now, still talking about the processes. Remember, we've discussed the preamble. For those that are just listening to us, you can check my previous video of yesterday and this morning to see the preamble. And today, we also discussed the prospect and the products. And now we're discussing the processes. Now, export business cycle could vary from as low as 2 to 3 weeks to as much as 3 months or even more. The cycle of an export business depends likely on a number of factors. It depends on the nature of the item you are shipping. It depends on the level of processes involved. It depends on how you are sourcing it. It depends on where you are in the supply chain. It depends on a number of factors. And the profit also could be as low as 5-10% to as much as 15 to 20% or even 30%, 40%, sometimes 50%. Now, I don't like talking about bogus return because those kind of things are not sustainable. I don't like talking about bogus, they're not sustainable in the sense that People get it. Like during recession, a lot of people were able to make a lot of money because, I mean, when dollar was 500, people make so much money exporting. So you understand? But those kind of things are not sustainable. So I think you should just put your mind at about 20-30% or 40% as most if you are the one producing the product. Like we said, focus is going to be on finished product. So that's what you should be looking at, not trying to look at bogus. Someone will tell you can make 100% exporting bitter cola. And somehow, people tend to believe lies. You know, human beings are very interesting. When you tell someone the truth, they don't believe it. But when you tell them the lie, they convince themselves to believe the lie that they can make 100%. If you can make 100%, everybody will be doing it. The person telling you about 100%, he will do it. He won't even tell you about it. So why do you believe that just if you are doing 100% doing bitter cola? How many people have been able to export bitter cola and make 100%? So don't believe those trash. Don't believe those rubbish. Just ensure that, look, this is a business just like another business. Because it's export, you might be able to make a little bit more because you are selling in dollars and you can exchange at a reasonable rate. Then that give you an advantage, actually. So return on investment, like I said, so a lot of things, the product you're exporting, the quality and commodity season, the position of supplier, your position in the supply chain, your procurement strategy, your cost management, your Incoterms, and a number of factors is going to determine your profitability. So I've been talking about finished product. So if you are the one that is processing that finished product, you are the one that sources raw material to produce, you are going to make more money than someone who is getting it from another person for export. For a middleman, it's not going to be as easy. But for a person who is the one manufacturing the goods and exporting it, of course, he makes more money. We do some commodity export, for example. We do quite a number last year, even though we had a couple of delay. Now, even though we don't encourage commodity export, like I said, but you know what? Because you have to buy from someone who brings it to Lagos, the return also is very small, less than 10%. Why? Because of your position in the supply chain. So if you are not at the source, getting it from that source, most likely you won't be able to make all the profit. And there's nothing wrong with that. I have learned that, look, you don't need to make all the profit. Make some part of the profit, let other people make some part of the profit. When everybody benefits, the system is strengthened and is prolonged and it is sustainable. When someone benefits more than the other and someone feels cheated, then it becomes compromised. So for example, we have rep in China, we have rep in UK, we have rep in Dubai that we work with. They make money. When they give me a price for my client, they also make money. They have already removed their commission. And I'm okay with it. As long as we still have some profit here. Because as long as they are there to help in getting those buyers, we are in business. And for them to keep getting those buyers, they must be making a lot of money. If they are making the money and my client is still being profitable, then we are fine. So as much as possible, you want to ensure that at the end of the day, you don't want to make all the profit alone at the expense of others. So it might not be so much, but if it's sustained, then it becomes a good business. Not something you do today, then you can't do it tomorrow. And that will happen if you want to be the only one to earn all the profit. Now, you can export in bits, you can export in bulk. When you export in bulk, it is exported using containers. Containers ship on the sea. It takes a longer period to get to the destination. You can put it will be in cartons or bag or sack depending on the nature of the item. But the fact is that you can export in bits, you can export in bulk. So in bulk will be in container. Olubanje Ebenezer, thank you very much. I appreciate your comment. You can export in bulk, you can export in bits. Now, in bulk is going in container. In bits is going in by air. A number of shipments we do that for finished product is by air. Now, we started by air and we are profitable by air. So imagine if you are shipping by air, when your cost is high and you are profitable. Imagine when you start shipping by sea. And that's, for me, a good way of testing for export. You start by shipping by air and then eventually go to sea. Start by shipping by air, eventually go to sea for finished product. Now, air might not be very profitable because of the cost, but if you are still making a little profit, it's good. You know what that does for you? Because you're not going to be able to do large volume through air. You're not going to be able to do large volume through air. But the small volume you are doing through air is good because you can then begin to introduce the product to the market little by little and then grow the volume over time. Remember, we are talking about finished product. So you might not going to be able to get someone to ask you for a container load at a time. That's not very common. That's not very common. The person would like to, first of all, try the product in the market to be sure your product have a prospect in the market before he decide to go ahead and begin to buy large quantity from you. And I believe strongly about what I call the law of life. And one of the law, in my opinion, is the law of gestation. And the law of gestation says that every good thing you work at take time to materialize. So don't get caught up. Don't get caught up in this instant everything. Instant noodles, instant milk, instant food, instant everything. Every good thing takes time to materialize. So if you're going to grow that business to become sustainable, it's going to take a while. So be ready to go through the process. That's why I like finished product. You are able to go through the process, and that's why few people are doing it. Many people that are coming want to do commodity. Sharp. Commodity is more risky. There is more cost. There is more capital involved. There is more risk. There is higher likelihood of quality. A lot of issues with commodities. At the end of the day, the buyer dictates the price. The day the buyer, someone call it instant riches. That's why people are going about stealing other way up and down to be able to get instant riches. There is this instant mentality is killing us, and that's a major challenge for us, really. So, like I said, you can export in bits, you can export in bulk. When you're exporting in bits, that's the one you ship through the air. Less than 1,000 kg, maybe 500 kg, 1.5 tons, 2 tons, 3 tons, and you're shipping those through the air. And most of the time when you ship through the air, finished product often go through the air. Finished product at the beginning will go by air, and then eventually you begin to go by sea. When you begin to go by sea, meaning you are now doing container. Like in the morning I was talking about someone who is a Nigerian who imports 4 containers of plantain chips every month from Costa Rica. And I'm saying this person has been doing it for more than 20 years. He didn't just get there by doing it one day. And I'm saying that these are the possibilities for you to begin to ship container load of your item every month. I know of a company in Nigeria who is into soap making, a particular kind of soap. I don't mention any brand here. But I was talking to someone working there, and the person was telling me they do almost every week they are shipping a container. Almost every week. Almost every week there's a container of items. But those people have been doing that soap for many years. So they've been in it for a while. And that's where you should learn from. Over time, when you are doing finished product, these are products you can use to build legacy. You know? For those of us that are just joining, please share the button. Click your share button and share with your friends and your colleagues who are very much interested. Is there a difference between commodities and finished product? Okay, let me differentiate. Commodities are raw materials for manufacturing finished products. Cocoa is a commodity, agro-commodity. Solid mineral is a commodity. It's called hard commodity. Agric are called soft commodities. They are not the end product in themselves, they are used to produce the end product. More often than not. But if you are exporting belt, shoes, bag, if you are exporting gele, I met a lady in the UK who exports gele. She calls herself Oge, and the only thing she does is just gele, tying gele. You know, it's so interesting what people are exporting. She exports gele, tying gele for traditional weddings in Europe and America. And she's going around the world exporting gele. And she calls herself Oge, that's her brand, Oge. You know, exporting gele. So those are finished products. Snacks, finished. I was talking to a lady this afternoon, it's on a mentoring program. Typically if you're doing a mentoring program for finished products, you get our pack. There is an export business kit we give you to go and listen to. It's about 50,000. When you listen to it, we don't charge for mentoring. You only buy the kit and then we start the process. So she's listening to it. She came to ask her question, and we are narrowing down some fruits or snacks. I won't tell you her business secret because I think it's a unique one that she's trying to do. So you can also learn from that. And what I'm going to say is the fact that the product you have added value to that is ready to be consumed is no more a commodity. Ready to be consumed is no more a commodity. Nigerian export crude oil. Crude oil is not a commodity. But the PMS is a product. PMS is a product because now it's finished product ready to be used and ready to be consumed. I'm sure I've answered Kemi Oladipo Adebayo's question. Okay, so I've talked about exporting in bulk going through the air and exporting in bits. Exporting in bits going through the air in small quantity and exporting in bulk going through the sea. Now, let's look at the step-by-step process. When you're trying to go into export, the first thing you should look at is planning, then product, then promotion, then purchasers, then preparation, then procurement and production, then paperwork, then payment. So I'll start with the first one, planning. You should ask yourself some critical questions. Planning. Why do you want to export? Why do you want to export? Why do you want to export? You know, the question looked very obvious, right? People export for different reasons. And sincerely, I have reasons why some people want to export. I have issues with the reason why some people want to export. Why do I have issue with the reason they want to export? A number of people want to export because of the profit they want to make. Please don't get me wrong. I don't have issue with being profitable. I only have issue with a situation where someone is just thinking of only profitability and not thinking of having a vision to see how you can grow the business. So I don't have issue with being profitable, but I have issue with trying to just looking at only the profitability, not having a global vision of the kind of business that such an individual want to build. Planning. You need to ask yourself some very critical question. Why do you want to export? Is it if you can export for the sake of meeting your basic need? That's a wrong reason to go into export business. That's called ad hoc export. You can export as an investor, just invest to be expecting return within some days or some weeks. If you do that, you might be disappointed because sometimes delay could happen and be prolonged. So why do you want to export? Now, before I go into that, some people have what is often called myth of export. Some people have wrong misconception about export. They believe export is for big companies, big corporations, big organizations. And I dare to say that is not true. Export is not for big corporation, big organization. Export is for anybody. In fact, do you know that there was a research in the US that majority of exporters in the US are actually SMEs. Majority of exporters in the US are actually SMEs. Even in Nigeria, a number of people are shipping out in Nigeria that are SMEs that ship through the air. If you want to see how we export in Nigeria, if you're in Lagos, you can go to NACO Export on Monday or Tuesday and see how people are shipping out. NACO is towards your left. When you are going to the international airport, towards your left, enter the place, go to the export section and see how people are shipping out. SMEs. So export is not for in a big company, it's for everybody. Some people say I'm too small for export, I cannot afford it. Some are afraid, fear of the unknown. Fear of the unknown. Fear of the unknown. Some are afraid of not getting paid. Some are afraid of legal issues. Some are afraid of regulations. Some are ignorant of the potential of export. There are businesses in Nigeria that are doing very, very well locally, but have never thought of exporting. And they have huge potential for export, but they've never thought of exporting. If you see any manufacturer in Nigeria who is not exporting, that's an opportunity for you right there. You can become their distributor in West Africa. You can become their distributor in Europe and America. You can become a distributor, especially if the product has potential. For example, let me give you an example. You cannot be producing a product that will copy from Europe, from the West, and want to export it back to them. You are not likely going to be profitable. You are not likely going to be profitable. Because you might not be able to compete. Anything you want to export, ensure that it is nature to us in terms of raw materials. For example, shea butter is natural to us in this belt, West Africa. So if you are doing a product in shea butter, you can do a lot with shea butter if you can get the quality right. Why? Because we have an advantage. Any product you see in Europe and America that have shea butter in it is gotten from West Africa. Most of the shea trees in the world are in West Africa. That's an advantage right there. So those are the things that should surround your planning. Any product you are trying to export, you must have an advantage in it. There's something you must understand about it. So, and for the product itself, so you plan, in your planning, you are drawing your vision, you are trying to understand what you want to export, you are trying to know the reason why you want to export, you have a mindset. How much will this cost me? What's the profitability? How sustainable it is? Sustainability is very important. If it's an agri product, does it have seasons? That means if I'm processing myself, I need to be able to stockpile when the season are over. I still have to produce. Now, if I'm going to be getting it from someone producing, I need to understand the strategy of the person. Does the person produce year-round? What is the strategy? And how can I support? Those are the things you want to know at the level of planning. For the product, you need to know the quality specification of the product. How is it supposed to be packaged? How should it be labeled? That's one of the things we'll be talking about later on, labeling. If you are doing finished product, it has to be well labeled, especially if it's food. How should it be labeled? Quality specification. Then promotion. How do I intend to sell it on the other side? Who am I going to be working with? I can do direct export. I can do indirect export. In direct export, I will be dealing directly with the end user, whoever it is I'm working with on the other side. In indirect export, I'm working with an agent or distributor. So let me break it down. You can export directly or indirectly. In indirect export, there is someone in my country I'm working with who could be an agent or distributor who will eventually be the one to ship the goods out. When I'm doing direct export, I'm shipping to the destination. In that destination, I can also have agent and distributor, but I'm the one that will move it out of my country to destination. So in direct export, I move it out of my country to the destination. Then I work with a distributor, a merchant or an agent at destination. In indirect export, I'm delivering the good to someone in my country. So let me give an instance. 3D Impacts do direct export. We ship to an agent abroad. Our clients do indirect export. They give the goods to us through cooperative export, and then we ship it together for them. Why are we doing cooperative export? They are still small. The volume is... Sorry, I have a network issue. What are the details of a purchase order? The detail of content of a purchase order. I'm going to talk about that very soon. Talking about purchase order. But before we talk about purchase order, let's just finish this process. Then preparation. That has to do with funding and logistics. Funding and logistics. Then procurement. Procurement or production. Procurement or production. Then paperwork. Paperwork include pre and post export documentation. Pre and post export documentation. Pre and post export documentation. And lastly, payment. So I'll go over that briefly. Number 1, planning. Number 2, product. Number 3, promotion. Number 4, purchasers. Number 5, preparation. Number 6, procurement or production. Number 7, paperwork. And number 8, payment. And number 8, payment. And number 8, payment. These are the step-by-step process, which we are going to probably be able to discuss later on. But what I want to do now is to just give us an idea when I talk about contract. When I talk about contract, that's purchase order. What should be the detail of that contract? Let's take some time discussing that contract. Now, if you are trying to go into export business, one thing you must not lose sight of is signing an agreement. And this is so important and this is so vital. Sign an agreement. Why? In the course of training, importers and exporters in Nigeria, I realized that a lot of importers in Nigeria import items into this country without signing an agreement. With the pro forma invoice, they are ready to go. Importers. But I also realized that on export side, because the other party are the one buying on the other side, they always insist on signing an agreement. So it's very important you realize that you need to sign a contract. You need to sign an agreement. Now, what should be content of this agreement? Buyers and sellers' name, buyers and sellers' contact details, buyers and sellers' account details, description of goods, quality specification, quantity, packaging, latest date of shipment, pricing, Incoterms, origin of the goods, then port of loading and port of discharge, payment terms and payment methods, shipping documents, termination, inspection, insurance, force majeure, dispute resolution, and special conditions. Now, what I've read out are basically what should be on a typical sales contract. This is just a 2-page document. Now, governing laws and jurisdiction is an area you will need your lawyer's advice. Governing laws and jurisdiction. For other area, I'm not sure you need your lawyer's advice because your lawyer is grounded in export. But for governing law and jurisdiction, you need your expert to advise on that. Governing law and jurisdiction before the signature of both parties. These are the details of a typical sales contract, and these sales contracts are the foundation of your trade transaction. The trade contract is so critical. The trade contract is so important. They are the foundation of your trade transaction. A contract gives a premise for your transaction, the basis for your transaction. If you're going to do this transaction, it's going to be based on a contract, an agreement. The contract gives you an idea of the level of preparation required to execute the project. The contract also helps you to know how you should plan to execute this project. The contract helps you with how payment will be made, payment methods. The contract helps you to know what the pricing will be like. The contract helps you to know the packaging requirement. The contract helps you to know the level of protection that you have. The contract lets you to know if there is the level of paperwork that needs to be done. The export sales contract lets you to know the likely problem you are going to encounter in executing the project. Now, these are the functions and the functions of paperwork. Function of contract in an export transaction. Function of contract in an export transaction. So it's very important. The contract is so critical, it's so important. You really will not be able to have a fantastic transaction if you don't have a tight contract. Not because you are envisaging that something will happen, but it helps you to think through on the process and be able to ensure you do exactly what is right for the success of that business. Now, what are the ways I can get buyers? Options available for me to get buyers. People often ask, I need buyer, I need buyer, I need buyer, I need buyer. And I tell them, even though I'm talking about to get buyer now, but the truth is, if your product is good, the buyer will appear. If your product is good, the buyer will appear. So in my opinion, the focus should not be on getting buyer. Rather, the focus should be on being able to get the product right, both in quality and specification. That should be your priority. That should be your priority. That should be your priority. One of the options available for you to get buyers is through Chamber of Commerce. You might need to join a Chamber of Commerce. Why? Chamber of Commerce give you opportunity to be able to meet with buyers abroad. I belong to a couple of them, and when they have their what do you call it now? Trade mission. I join them, and then I get to meet buyers abroad. So it gives you opportunities to be able to meet buyers because they organize bilateral trade mission. Nigeria-America Chamber of Commerce, Nigerian-British Chamber of Commerce, different Chamber of Commerce. Different Chamber of Commerce. And all of them together give you opportunity to be able to meet. But you need to check them out to be sure they are very viable and they have trade mission regularly so that you can go to the countries in question and be able to get buyers. So that means you have a target country. Number 2 is to work with agent or broker. We try to do that a lot. Working with agent or brokers in the country in question. Looking for agent or brokers in the country in question. If you have friends and relatives abroad, they can become your agent. If you have friends and relatives abroad, they can become your agent. So it's very important you don't relegate those friends and relatives abroad to the background. They might just become your agent that might be able to help you make that business a success. Online trade portal. There are some trade portal online that will help you to be able to get buyers. Globalbuyersonline.com. I use that a lot. Globalbuyersonline.com. That's one option. People use Alibaba, but Alibaba is having issue with Nigeria now because they've had a lot of issue with Nigerian scammers. So you might have to consider other platforms. Like I said, I mentioned Global Buyers Online. Now, with some of these online portals, if you have good product, you are going to get regular requests for your product. The question is this: will you be able to meet up with the demand? Will you be able to meet up with the demand? Which is why I said the issue is not buyers. If it's finished product, if it's commodity, maybe. If it's finished product, the issue is not buyers. If it's finished product and it's of good quality, be rest assured someone is willing to buy. If you know what to do, you will get that buyer. If you know what to do. If you don't know what to do, you won't be able to get a buyer easily. But that's why we are doing this Facebook live broadcast, so that people will get to learn some of these things. Remember, for those that are just joining us, please try and share this with your friends who might be interested in going into export business. We are discussing transiting from paid employment to self-employment. For those that are already doing their own business, maybe we'll call it transiting from whatever business you are doing to export business, or bringing in export business, divesting into export business, whichever way you want to call it. Give it any topics you want to give it. But I'm just addressing everybody and talking to everybody about the fact that we need to export. I'm very passionate about export. If we don't export sincerely, we are going nowhere as a nation. So we have made up our mind at 3T Imperial Trade Academy. Whatever effort we need to do, we need to put out. Facebook, Instagram, email, whatever it is we need to do to get message out for people become a lot very important. Because we need to export as a nation. If we go to grow this economy, we must export. If you don't export, we are joking. We are joking. We are going nowhere. I was analyzing yesterday about the reason why we need to export. About the fact that countries that are exporting, how they have been able, countries that are exporting opportunities they've created for their citizens, how they've grown their economy. And I was talking about the fact that, look, think of a nation that you can call a developed nation. They are the one exporting. Think of a nation you can call a developed nation. They are the one exporting. They are the one that are able to lift their people out of poverty. They are the one we are buying product from. Go to the port, you see a lot of goods coming in every day. Our money is going to pay them. They are taking our money away. We can also get a lot of fund into Nigeria by just exporting. Exporting should be beyond just making money. For me, it's a mission to salvage Nigeria. And it's something that private sector can do. Even though government support will be great, but since we have not been able to find... Some people are trying to call me and they are disrupting my conversation. Please, if you want to call you, I can chat to you later and give you my private line. Someone is even calling me on Facebook. The person that is trying to call me on Facebook, Olaleye, please, I'm doing a Facebook live video. Can you call back later, please? You are disrupting the flow. All right. So I was talking about how important and important it is for us to be able to export. It's very important for us to be able to export. So what we are doing as a company is to be able to provide information out there for people to be able to know that, look, this thing is not rocket science. It's something I can do. It's just that it's knowledge intensive, so I need to learn. And there's nothing wrong in learning. We are all learning machines. We are all learning machines. There's nothing wrong. So you need to keep learning to be able to, grow your business. And that's what we're trying to do to ensure we make the information available out there. Now, another way, apart from the online trade portal, is to go do recommendation from other exporters. You might have someone that is exporting, and they might be able to recommend. Now, this strategy for this source of getting buyer is very rare. It's not very common. It's not very common. Many people will not want to tell you, even if their buyer need 1,000 carton and they're only delivering 100, they still want to link you up. It's funny. Someone will ask me, if this thing is so profitable, why are you telling people about it? And I tell them, Dangote is the richest man in Africa. Dangote is exporting product from Africa. Dangote, as rich as he is, cannot meet the demand of the export market. So who am I? So if you know about it and you're not talking about it, then it just, for me, it's insane. It's not even selfish, it's insane. It's insane because you are not meeting the demand and then you're not talking to people about it. And knowing fully well that export is not just about you. Let me explain how interesting export is. When you begin to export and you are doing well, you are going to change the impression of the buyer about you. The buyer is not just going to change about you, it's going to change about Nigeria. The person will begin to see Nigeria as, that Nigeria. That means there are some great people in Nigeria. See this good product they are selling to me. See how good this product is. And see the fact that there are credible people in Nigeria. So that's important. That product export is so critical that it can boost the credibility of a nation. Because it's not about exporting for yourself. It's about the nation. That's why it's so bad when people are not able to meet up with the demand. When people are not are giving contract, they are not able to execute it. is so bad. Those people also are creating a wrong impression about Nigeria. So export is not about you, it's about Nigeria. The buyer sees Nigeria, it's not looking at you. When the product is bought, Nigerians, they don't have good product. Nigerians. When the product is good, say, Nigerians, they have good product, or there are some good people in that country. So it helps you to, it gives us good impression abroad. So when we are talking about redeeming our image, no matter the PR we do, if they don't see our productivity, we are joking. Our productivity can do much more than our PR. No matter the PR we are doing, immediately they begin to see our productivity. No matter what they hear, don't they have issues in the US? Don't they have issues in the UK? Don't they have issues in France? Are they not bombing in some of these places? Are they not? Do you know how many people they stab every day or every week in the UK? This knife challenge they have. Is that affecting their image? People are not. The good news coming from that country about the productivity of that country is more than the bad. So we can do a lot with our email, by just exporting, among other things that we need to do as a nation. So I'm going to paint a picture for us on how valuable and important export is. Recommendation from other exporters. Then international trade shows. International trade shows. If you are going to be going on holiday in February and you have not booked your ticket for the country, maybe you can consider UAE. If you are interested in export, please visit UAE. Try and visit UAE. You know why? UAE have this very interesting program. Very, very interesting program. Trade mission every year in February. Every year UAE have this program in February every year. You need to be at that program. It's called the Gulf Food. Gulf Food. Gulf. Food. Gulf Food. It's a trade mission in UAE every year, bringing many people all over the world together. I think it's holding around the 3rd week. You can check it up online. That's one of the international trade shows. When the next time you are traveling, go to a country where they are doing trade shows. So you see how it's organized, and you can use that as a way of realizing your export dreams. Then, friends and relatives abroad. I cannot overemphasize this. Friends and relatives abroad, in my opinion, are very valuable assets for export. Friends and relatives abroad. Very, very valuable. I can help you to assist them with information on how they can help you. Whatever it is they need to know, I will link them up with information they need to get online to be able to learn and understand how it works so they can be your rep. Friends and relatives abroad. And if you have the money, you can do an advert in their print and electronic media. In their print and electronic media. This is where I'm going to stop today. Basically talk about the processes. I've talked about step-by-step processes involved. The need to get licensed, the fact that you can ship in bit and in bulk, and some of the ways you can get buyers. Tomorrow morning, we'll be looking at some of the problems of export and how to overcome those problems. Some of the problem of export and how to overcome those problems. Thank you very much for listening. My name remains Dela Yemibo. See you tomorrow, and bye for now.